So I was listening to a brief digital piece by J.J. Redick on a podcast. And he was defending modern-day players, and Giannis specifically, on how great he is. And, you know, I collected baseball and NBA cards when I was a kid, but I'm not a sports romantic. I think it's one of the reasons that I just don't spend a ton of time watching or talking about baseball. It's very much a rear-view mirror sport, steeped in its lore and history. And, you know, one of the things I like about the NFL, Sunday is all that matters. And I feel the same way, you know, about the NBA. We don't spend a ton of time, although the Michael Jordan, LeBron debate certainly gets plenty of airtime. But clearly, nutrition's better, training's better, the skill level is better. It's now much more of a global game. Europe is all in. Asia, there's players everywhere. But I will say this, there are 4 or 5 things to me that make a great player, an all-time great. Your skill level, you can do multiple things. Your production, you have to be productive. You have to win. Great players win. Your uniqueness, do you do things others haven't? And your replaceability. You know, Tim Duncan, the Spurs, Greg Popovich, an all-time coach. Spurs have been a disaster since he left. Tim Duncan is one of the 12 greatest basketball players I've ever seen. I don't care about, you know, MVPs, where you are in the scoring list. All the players I think are all-time greats are productive. And 4 current players are part of the 12 greatest players I've ever seen. And that's something when you consider how long the NBA has been going on. The first dynasty was George Mikan and the Minneapolis Lakers. After that, it was the Celtics in the 60s. In no particular order, the 12 greatest basketball players I've seen based on production, winning, skill level, replaceability, uniqueness. LeBron, Steph, KD, and Giannis are all in it. I think Giannis, if you look at guys of his size, his ability to bring the ball up the floor, hit a jumper, he's the best player in any given moment in the NBA on both ends of the floor. Steph, LeBron, KD, and Giannis. I think KD in a one-on-one tournament would be the greatest NBA player of all time. He could dribble past the bigs. He could shoot over LeBron or MJ. I think KD's an all-time talent. The others are Shaq, Kobe, MJ, Wilt, Kareem, Duncan, Bird, and Magic. I didn't see Russell play live. He was limited offensively. Did not watch Oscar Robertson. Akeem, Barkley, Dr. J, all very, very good. But those are the 12 greatest basketball players I've ever played. But J.J. Redick's point is nobody is a perfect player. You know, LeBron's pretty darn close. He passes, handles the ball, defends, shoots at an all-time level. He's not a great three-point shooter. He's very streaky. But Michael Jordan was not a three-point shooter. Kobe always had better range. Michael Jordan was a good ball handler, but a very average passer. He didn't intend to pass very much, nor did Kobe. But the players are better today. I think we're very lucky, in my opinion, 4 of the 12 greatest players in basketball are playing right now. And I don't think that is hyperbolic. I don't think it's unrealistic. I think Steph Curry's the greatest shooter of my lifetime. LeBron's arguably the greatest player. KD is the single hardest offensive player to stop who can also put the ball on the deck. Kareem, not really. And then Giannis, who is, last 4 years to me, is elevated in the most talented basketball era now, the most global basketball era now. He's the most dominant player. Aesthetics do matter in sports. Because how we view games now is overwhelmingly on TV and not live. And, you know, I do think it's easy to pick on the NBA because the seasons are very long. Like hockey, you're talking over 80 games, overnight travel, sleep deprivation, and the toll it takes on your body. Unlike football, you're not being tackled, but you get such a rest period after football games. Even the short Thursday games, you play Sunday afternoon, you play Thursday night, you don't really hit in practice that week. That's the shortest between NFL games, you know, and that's 4 full days. But I do think, I noticed this the other night when Boston, all 5 starters, sat for their game against Milwaukee. And Jason Tatum, there's an argument to be made of all the top NBA players between the minutes and games he played, he deserves a rest. But there are other games you could rest. I thought it was a classic example of here was a calendar game, a circle it on your calendar game. Celtics made it a close game, went to overtime before they lost, but it's a bad look. And something that needs to be duly noted is the NBA negotiated 9 days off in the middle of the season for the NBA All-Star Game. I am not opposed to that. But if you're going to get 9 days off, then you gotta play, if you're a Celtic starter, in Milwaukee. You just got to play. You just got to play. I think some young fans don't realize that it wasn't that long ago, honestly, that players flew commercial. If you played in Boston and the next night you were playing, right, like in Miami or wherever, Atlanta, you were often on the first flight in the morning on Continental Airlines or United Airlines. You'd be sitting next to a Celtic. Now, everybody's got their own team playing, so the luxuries have quadrupled. The All-Star break, 9 days for a majority of the players. And simultaneously, Jalen Hurts is playing hurt all through the playoffs. Patrick Mahomes is playing with like a grade 2 level, I think it's a grade 2 level, high ankle sprain. So when you have NFL players who are playing with the kind of ankle sprain that keeps players out, puts them on the injured reserve list, you're getting 9 games off for an All-Star game. I just think it's a bad look for the NBA. Yes, I think there are too many NBA games, but these have been negotiated. Do I really believe if you went from 82 to 70 games, players wouldn't miss games? We ask more and more of our football players, play another week, another round of a playoff game. The athletes are bigger and stronger. The hits are harder and come faster. And they still fight to get on the field. It's a badge of honor to play hurt. I thought that Milwaukee-Boston game, and I know Jaylen Brown had been hit in the face. I'm not saying everybody had to play. I thought that was such a bad look as we're getting ready, a week before a 9-day layoff for a majority of the Celtics. Aesthetics matter. This is a job on television, discussed regularly by media. NFL guys fighting to get on the field, NBA guys looking for excuses not to play before a 9-day break.